everybody. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Such a good year. It's going to be a good year, right? All right, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Trustee McDonough.
Present.
Trustee Maribel.
Present.
Trustee Mitchell. Trustee Middleton.
Present.
Trustee Njenga.
Here.
Trustee White. Trustee Kerwin. VP Kelly.
Here.
President Saunders.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Communications from the public.
There is no legal requirement to recognize public comment at meetings of the Board of Education. However, the board recognizes the critical importance of community discourse and involvement in the education of Mount Vernon's children, and accordingly, members of the public are invited to speak at each regularly scheduled board meeting, subject to the terms of the board policy. Please state your name, address, and the organization, if any, you represent. A speaker must register in advance by no later than 4 p.m. the day of the meeting by contacting the district clerk in person at 165 North Columbus Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York, by phone at 914-665-5235, or by email. The board welcomes all respectful comments, whether praise or criticism. However, identifying and criticizing a specific student, parent, teacher, administrator, other Mount Vernon education official, or employee is strictly prohibited. Any such complaint must be presented and addressed through the proper administrative channels. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to speak. Up to 1 additional minute may be used for the speaker to summarize and conclude their remarks. If appropriate, board trustees and/or the superintendent or other staff members at the direction of the superintendent may immediately respond to a speaker's remarks. Our first speaker this evening is Cynthia Crenshaw. Cynthia Crenshaw? Our next speaker is Brenda Crump.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I will start out with a quote. The Maya Angelou quote says, people will remember. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. I want to now go into, because I'm a person who I like to deal with facts, so when I can deal with facts, I want to deal with facts. So I want to play this recording.
We have one more question here, and these will be the last round of questions because we have to end this town hall meeting.
Okay, so I'm a student from one of the schools that is going down, and why do I have to suffer the consequences because of what you want to do? Like, I'm losing all my friends, I'm losing my benefits of learning because of your consequences.
Can you ask the question, my love?
My question is, why do I have to suffer your consequences?
Thank you. have a question in the middle. I have a question in the middle of the aisle. These are the last questions.
So my question is, will each one of you please tell me and the community why you did not answer the Honor Academy student? 12 years old, 8th grader, Honor Academy, had the courage to stand up at a town hall meeting where the auditorium was packed, full of people. I was very sad and disappointed in those who were there. The people were our acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent for business, and I think it was about 6 school board trustees that sat at the table up front and did not answer this student. Didn't acknowledge her. This is school district, this is school. If anything, it's going to impact her more than it will impact any of us, the closing of schools, the closing of her school. I want to bring to your attention that this is for children, about children. There really shouldn't be anything without the children. The school calendar, so when the next one is prepared, all adults, front cover, you open it up, you turn to every page, no children, no representation of any children in the school calendar. This is the 2024-25 school calendar. It ends with the back cover of adults. No children. This is school district. This is about children. The budget. When robocalls went out for the budget, not one robocall talked about children. It talked about the taxpayers and how it would impact the taxpayers and how the taxpayers are spending a lot of money. It talked about the seniors and how it would impact the seniors. But there was nothing in the robocalls that talked about children. I will end with the student's question. Her question was, okay, so I'm a student from one of the schools that is going down, and why do I have to suffer the consequences because of what you want to do? That was the student's question. And I've asked my question. So prayerfully, she and I both will get answers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that ends tonight's public comments. Superintendent report.
Happy New Year, Mount Vernon. I want you to please attempt to attend the Mount Vernon Hidden Second Annual Fashion and Talent Show.
Mike.
Oh, so sorry. Again, Happy New Year, Mount Vernon. Please don't miss the Mount Vernon Hidden Second Annual Fashion Show and Talent Show. It will be held this Friday, January 10th at 6 p.m., and it will be at Mount Vernon High School, which is, of course, located at 100 California Road. Adults will be $10 and students will be $5. So this is the second year, and I want you to know that last year it was truly amazing. Also, please note that the Mount Vernon City School District High School Showcase Night 2025, this explores each of the high schools' unique offerings. This will be on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This too will be at Mount Vernon High School, located at 100 California Road. It is my absolute pleasure that we had the opportunity to meet with the Fleetwood Neighborhood Association last night. That was Monday, January the 6th, 2025. Jose Famosa, who's our Assistant Superintendent of Business, Mark Ramonde, the Associate Superintendent of Operations and Accountability, and myself, we met with a host of people, and I want you to know it was truly amazing. We had a courageous community conversation regarding several proposals on the table. That's the reorganization. We talked somewhat about raising taxes as well as obtaining a barn. So again, thank you to the Fleetwood Neighborhood Association for hosting a very, very informative event. So this evening, we have one presentation under the superintendent's report, and that will be Ms. Lisa Mazon, who is the Director of Health and Physical Education, and she will provide a presentation on physical education and the health department. Ms. Mazon?
Well, good evening, Board President Saunders, Vice President Kelly, trustees, Acting Superintendent Dr. K. Veronica Smith, senior cabinet members, colleagues, and the community. Wow, I'm the only presentation tonight. Big shoes to follow. Good thing that I'm phys ed and health, and we're kind of used to leading activities, so hopefully it'll be enlightening. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. As Dr. Smith mentioned, my name is Lisa Mazon, and as you can see, I hold the title of Director of Health and Physical Education. This is my second year in this role, and I'm very, very excited to explain to you all why I agree with Dr. Edward Berman's quote, "Gym is more than gymnastics," which is on my slide. Next slide, please. My explanation of why I agree with Dr. Berman that gym, or more correctly stated, physical education, is more than gymnastics, really lies in demonstrating how my department is supporting the superintendent's mantra of forward to mastery. Looking for ways to supplement equipment at our buildings and support staff needs is one way. Enhancing student literacy skill acquisition, developing curriculum and providing resources, addressing engaging families and the school community in events. Next slide, please. Oh, I should use the thing. I'm sorry. Now I know this slide has a lot of writing on it. And I apologize for that. I'm going to paraphrase our goals. The focus of elementary physical education is to develop fundamental movement, such as locomotive, motor, non-locomotive, and manipulative skills, as well as social behaviors and the enjoyment of physical activity. The goal of secondary physical education is to develop physically educated persons who have the knowledge and confidence to enjoy and participate in lifelong activity. Now, speaking about our children and promoting that enjoyment factor and the lifelong activity, on the screen you can see that there are pictures of students snowboarding and skiing. Mount Vernon High School participated last winter in their first trip to Vernon, New Jersey, which was skiing, as you know, is a lifelong activity. Excuse me if I mentioned that again. But I just wanted to point that out because that was a first for us. The physical education department is also helping students practice their academic skills. Health education's goal is to equip students with the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed decisions regarding their physical, mental, social well-being, while also fostering a supportive environment. Let's see if I can do this. I'm not too familiar with. All right. Learning curve. Okay. Again, I'm stealing a mantra sort of from my colleague Angela Hall. Physical education is more than gymnastics. To be more than gymnastics, we need to expose students to new activities and have equipment and resources to do so. This year, our district was awarded 3 grants. The first grant, of which I can so proudly state I applied for, was awarded by USA Lacrosse and included an estimated amount of $2,200 worth of youth lacrosse sticks, balls, goals, and curriculum. Since it's a fairly new sport to our district, and based on the results of a teacher interest and skill questionnaire, it was decided that these materials will be sent to Lincoln Elementary to implement. The New York State Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, AFERD, which I'll probably refer to a little further, awarded 2 grants. Graham School received an equipment grant that involved the delivery of new tumbling mats. The second award was the Frank Bartok Legacy Grant. While it was not a monetary grant, it was prestigious and recognized the significant contributions and commitment to our areas, one of our teachers and our area's chapter of AFERD. Next slide, please. Okay. Mr. Craig Zern, a physical educator at Graham School, was recognized and won this prestigious award. We're very, very proud of him. Continuing with the theme of recognition and support of staff, on December 2nd, Ms. Jaffis, an educator at STEAM Academy, received the Hero in Education Award. She was the only physical educator in the region among 15 recipients to receive this award from New York State. If Mrs. Peterson is online watching this, I would like to thank her for recognizing contributions of my colleagues to the students of Mount Vernon. My next slide, please. Dr. Smith tasked all of us to support students' literacy as part of the Moving Forward to Mastery. Tonight, I'm going to discuss enhancing literacy in physical education and strategies for incorporating writing and reading in physical activities. There is an overall misconception that everything to be learned in physical education is performance-based. It's what people know us to do. Many writing activities can contribute to the understanding of physical health and the development of lifelong habits. Literacy should be seamlessly integrated into the activity, not an additional unrelated task. And this was quoted out of Education World by Dr. Edward Berman. Again, gym is more than gymnastics. This slide, the previous slide, excuse me, going to go back one, emphasizes that it's possible for physical education to support literacy, and it does not mean moving away from our main focus, which was previously discussed. Dr. Marable, you may remember in a prior education meeting, maintaining the fun factor was discussed and important in a non-academic classroom setting, such as physical education. I would like to demonstrate some ways we do still support and maintain fun while also movement. This will necessitate your participation and ramping up your energy, I hope. So here we go, folks. All right. This activity is called Pace Yourself. So no worries, I'm going easy, I swear. There are several variations that can be applied to this activity and the others that I'm going to explain. Okay? So, what I'm going to ask you to do is partner work as we model what you might see in a physical education classroom with the young children. And I'm only asking you to maybe participate if you would like. So you would choose a category, and it could be anything. Tonight's choices are, because we do encourage choice with our children and voice, fruits, vegetables, or everything Super Bowl, since that's coming up. On go, you and your partner will take turns naming items in the category without any repeats. Okay? So if you choose fruits, you're going to list them out. Now, I'm not going to cheat. Say things like cantaloupe or whatever. While you are taking turns, as you're naming the items in the categories, I'm going easy on you folks, okay? You're going to do some sort of arm movement. okay? In the classroom setting, in the gymnasium, we might do opposite elbows to knees, jumping jacks, and other physical activities while we're doing this activity. Are you willing to try? I thought maybe everything Super Bowl might entice you. You want to try one set? Oh, come on, my sports people. Let's go. Everything Super Bowl. Snacks included. Okay, are we ready? You want to just try it once? No? Come on. All right, arm circles. Ready? On your mark, get set, go. Just call them out like a fruit or a vegetable.
Apricot.
Halftime.
Oh, that's cheerleaders.
Football.
We're switching. We'll just switch it up. Like I said, there's many variations in the gymnasium that happens, okay?
Kumquats.
Kumquats. Interesting. Okay.
Helmets.
Pomegranates.
What fruit is helmets?
Cabbage. Superfood, by the way. Onions. Superfood. What are we doing?
Wait, what we doing?
All right. What are you doing?
Oh, we do with
Yeah, well, so.
Oranges.
everybody- We didn't actually pair up, but we're going with it.
I thought we was on
Okay?
Super Bowl
Anyway,
still.
so just to give you an idea how we still maintain fun, but do such things. So what would happen is, after we do maybe this kind of activity, the students might be asked to spell their fruit. Pick in their pairs, spell a fruit, and write it down. Okay? That's one variation of how this might occur or look like in physical education. All right. So some other examples. This might be a middle school a board. It might be a middle school board. And you could see the words projected are fitness related and unit related and such. What might happen in the gym, a board of vocabulary words would be projected for the students to reference. They would be, let's say, formed in relay style groupings. And on the cue go, they would be sent down to one end of the gym where foam alphabet cubes might be at that end. The students will race, grab a cube, come back, pile them up, and at the end have to spell out with the cubes a word that's on the vocabulary board, or create a different word that's not on it. A variation to that would be the phys ed teacher might say a vocabulary word with 3 words, 4 words. 3 letters, 4 letters, 5 letters, and such, okay? It might vary based on the topic that they're learning, the unit that they're learning, or maybe this would be turned to Super Bowl or something like that, current events related, okay? That's one demonstration of how we're supporting writing, reading, literacy, and academic vocabulary. This is another example of an activity. We did this in a principals meeting recently. Again, it's a relay style activity in pairs. At one end of the space, it was this room actually, we had drawings at one end, or you could do a math problem at one end, and the one person in the team would go down to that spot, look at what's there, whether it's a picture, a memory word, or math formula, look at it, run back, write it on a piece of paper. Their partner would go, look at the same thing, and they would try to complete whatever is displayed at the end. Okay? Other ways that we integrate writing into physical activities, while trying to still maintain the fun factor, the engagement factor. We can encourage our students to write about experiences. Students can write about their experience in physical education class, such as personal bests, team activities, anything we do, memorable moments that encourage them to engage in the physical activity. They can do reflective writing about sports reports. They can detail the rules and the strategies that are going on in the class and being learned. They can do research writing about a famous athlete or any other sport or science related to exercise or the psychology of motivation. This can be leveled up for high school activities and speak to a particular audience. We also embed writing with assessment as far as rubrics, creating rubrics, self-assessment rubric. Okay. Sorry. This year, we are excited to be part of a pilot program utilizing two innovative resources, Quaver Physical Education and Health Smart curriculums. These programs are designed to enhance student learning experiences by providing interactive content that aligns with our instructional goals. Both of these programs may seem familiar to the board and the district, as Quaver Music is in the arts program, and a version of Health Smart was purchased by us, by my predecessor, about 8 years ago. In addition to these resources, we're committed to continuously improving our curriculum through teacher feedback and the guidelines set forth by New York State standards and Shape America's sequencing and age-appropriate outcomes. On the board is an example of what the Quaver Phys Ed K-5 curriculum looks like. You can see it says kindergarten lessons, and it's in the middle of the page. Above is what our Atlas units of study look like, K through 8. And then on the bottom are the Holt Hale is lesson planning for elementary physical education, is a reference produced by Shape America, which is one of our organizations, supported by AFERD, which is our professional organization, and it all complies with New York State standards. Also, this is health. Prior to break, the health department has completed the mental health units of study for both middle school and high school. And these are examples of some activities that they have completed. I'm proud to say in year 2, the department has moved towards, how do I say it? Sequencing. In other words, if I walk in a K-8 building throughout the district, I should be able to see, or am able to see, like learning going on as far as their units that they should be covering because of the work that we've been doing. Everything I shared thus far is aligned with our professional development plan to support teachers and instruction for students. For example, we started building the teacher's toolbox of innovative strategies to integrate reading, writing, and critical thinking, because literacy and physical education is not something inherent to us traditionally, with our workshop in August. This is a picture of that session with our facilitator, Thomas Gilardi, who is an innovative physical educator featured by AFERD, our organization, TV, such as Sesame Street and Fox and so forth, and on social media platforms. Many of my physical educators and health educators follow this gentleman. Other professional development, which is outside our district, is the Physical Education and Health Consortium that we participate with Southern Westchester BOCES. These are the current topics that are offered to our staff to attend free. We paid a membership, but free otherwise. And then on the right is Southern Eastern Zone Conference, which is, again, that AFERD that I mentioned, the Association for Health, Physical Education, Exercise, Recreation, and Dance. They run an annual zone conference. We're the Southeastern Zone. The Physical Education Department attended this conference at Cardinal Spellman. This is an example of the sessions and the learning that went on. Feedback from all of these sessions, because we do surveys, teacher surveys, has been positive. regarding the professional development experiences that they are being exposed to. Okay. This is something that I'm probably the most proud of when I talk about my colleagues. Our community engagement and school events and making learning fun and the environment in the buildings fun and such. The one thing that I would like to draw your attention to is the Family Fun Health and Wellness Night that we had on December 5th, 2024. That was an evening held at Mount Vernon High School that was planned by me with support of colleagues and the parent liaisons and the Dr. Doggett and such. It was held at Mount Vernon High School. We had people, representatives from the health industry there, particularly a gentleman that and colleague that spoke to substance abuse and the effects of abusing substances and used what I call the goggles to help demonstrate those effects. He spoke to Narcan also, which is something that when I speak a little further that I'd like to build out maybe. That we had staff volunteer their time to come participate in engaging children. We had kickboxing, we had yoga. It was a very fun evening for families to learn and be active. Even though we tried to get Dr. Doggett to participate in kickboxing, he just wouldn't do it. Sorry, Dr. Doggett. And there are no pictures of me and Miss Rhodes participating just on purpose, so I just say. On the screen as well are some other things that we accomplished. Pennington School had staff-student tournament prior to break, and I know they will have tournaments throughout the school year because they did it last year. Plory is on top. That is from iReady. It's a character from iReady, but the man behind the mask is, again, a physical educator, indicating how physical education staff contribute to culture and contribute to collaborating with staff in the building. Bottom right, turkey trot with at STEAM, a walk to school event at Traphagen, and to the left, January 10th, we have a Westchester Knicks game at County Center. Proceeds from those ticket sales are a fundraiser for Mount Vernon School District, and in an attempt to ease or make it highly likely that our students within this district will be able to attend a March 11th game, which is a school day game. So that is going on. It's been posted on Blackboard. And again, it's January 10th at County Center. Tickets are less than $20 currently, $5 of which comes back to us. Project Adam. This is our cardiac emergency readiness initiative that we started last year in Mount Vernon High School and Honor Academy. At the current time, I'm pleased to report that we are just waiting for their live drill to occur to finalize those two buildings. What I will say is in this process, it's unfortunate but fortunate. I have good news. At Mount Vernon High School, they have had several incidences where they had cardiac emergencies. Because of us working towards complying with this Project Adam initiative, those were all positive outcomes. The safety team responded, the safety team knew where the defibrillators were, and the students and people involved, it was a positive outcome. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm looking forward to hopefully moving on to formalizing cardiac emergency preparedness in some of the other buildings soon. Huh. Can you do the next slide? For some reason, it's not moving. Thank you. Special Olympics, the Pioneer League. President Saunders. She and I share that I hold it near and dear to my heart. So it's the Pioneer League, which is a group of students within our district. We have 13 athletes right now currently competing and participating, with a group of students from Denzel to be put into the fold as soon as they get cleared in their paperwork. We just completed the soccer session, and we're moving to handball. So that on the left is an example of their schedule that just finished. And the picture is of a student that is a senior this year that we are supporting and hyping up and hopefully making this a very memorable senior year as far as athletics go for him. To the right was when we had our first, I want to say homecoming for the Spirit and Homecoming event for the Pioneer League students at Mount Vernon High School when they hosted Ardsley. So they will be hosting probably during the basketball time later in the year. What's next? So as I mentioned, we're continuing to support curriculum development, exposing teachers to a variety of professional learning opportunities and experiencing, and planning and hosting a variety of school district community events, as well as the literacy initiative, and hopefully moving forward with that Project Adam to other schools as we look to completing Mount Vernon in honor. Thank you. Any questions? Happy New Year.
Lisa, when you get a chance, can you give the board a list of games that the Pioneer League will be doing?
Sure, I can send you the schedule. It comes out by the Special Olympics does the schedule. I can just forward it to you, no problem.
I have a question. Is this mic on? Can you hear it okay? Thank you. This is great, and it's very ambitious to try and integrate literacy writing into a already challenging aspect of life. In general, Americans aren't very healthy. Mm-hmm. They don't exercise enough. Mm-hmm. They don't meet basic CDC standards. Mm-hmm. This is clear. Very few do. I would guess that is equally true for Mount Vernon students, mm-hmm. that they are not meeting standards that will carry them through life as regular exercisers. Mm-hmm. This seems to be a truism if Americans in general are meeting those standards that our kids won't. So I'm a little bit worried that, moving to push literacy and writing into the physical education curriculum might compete with the overall goal of getting youth interested in exercising as a matter of course, as a daily part of their life, not seeing it as a chore, but integrating into who they are so that they can sustain that as they get older, especially when times are tough. So I guess I'm interested to know how science is integrated into the curriculum. There's been a lot of very important changes in the ability to self-monitor progress, health progress, biometrics. We're all wearing devices now. Some wear them, some actually use them to change their health behavior on top of that. So I'm just curious about how we're doing that, because really the main goal is to get kids moving, get kids aerobic, get kids meeting healthy weight standards. So how are we doing that? How does does literacy compete with that at all? Or that's generally my concern.
So it's an excellent question. And the overall trend is that students and adults are becoming more sedentary. We know that. So as I mentioned before, when I mentioned our goals in that third slide, we are not moving away from our focus in education, which is its activity and learning of physical fitness and activity is first and foremost. So the literacy is just a complement, we're not stopping what we're doing, and we're not lessening our time educating students with regards to health, fitness, and physical activity, and liking lifelong activity. What we're trying to do is to embed it seamlessly. In other words, at the high school level, it might be an exit ticket, which we do anyway. It might look like analyzing a picture in the first 5 minutes. That's related to health, science, fitness. It can manifest itself in a variety of different creative ways. So I want to assure you that the educators are not moving away from that focus. We're just trying to be creative in how to support it or just to expose children to it a little bit more than we were previously.
More of an intentional integration. Pretty much that. It doesn't take away from anything else. Because exactly what you said came up when you brought this up, to not move away from the arts, not to move away from the athletic sides of the subject as well. So that did come up in the beginning. So we want to make sure that we're not turning these classes into writing classes.
It doesn't look like that.
Intentional integration of literacy. Got it. That's all.
Question, for the lacrosse that we are starting, do we have a coach for those kids that?
So it's not a team. The grant, which was a lacrosse grant, is a class set. So it's going to Lincoln Elementary, and James Gencarelli, who is one of the physical educators over at Lincoln, was selected because of his interest and also because of his skill. He has been awarded the opportunity to teach lacrosse as a unit at Lincoln.
For all grades or certain grades?
It's curriculum that they was part of the grant, spans the K to 8 where he is. So lacrosse we do not have a lacrosse team.
Right.
We're not looking to establish a team, maybe in the future. But right now, it's just to expose the kids to this sport because Lincoln did not have lacrosse equipment prior to this either. That's another reason that it was awarded there.
Thank you.
I have a question. Thank you so much for the presentation. I also concur with Dr. Madonna as we expressed in our meeting. My question is for Dr. Smith. I just wanted to know, do we have a schedule of when these presentations are being done, like throughout the entire school year? If there is a schedule, if the trustees can have a schedule. Also, if the presentations are being done, can we receive them or either have them added to the content when we receive the board docs information so that we can actually follow along? It's very difficult for us to see the screens and to see all of the content that's encapsulated in order for us to really ask questions that may be of value and may be helpful and supportive for us in making decisions about what programs we support or what programs are recommended. For us to be able to see them, we need to really kind of be able to have that information to refer to either afterwards or even if we want to ask questions during the presentation to be able to have that opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, we do have a year-long calendar, which was developed before September. I'll have Ms. James forward it to you, and as we have the presentations, we could attach it as well.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Ms. Mays. Thank you, Ms. Maison. And that ends the superintendent's report.
I also just want to note that our trustee or student trustee is here this evening, Trustee de Grandpré.
So we'll start with committee report. And our first committee report will be from Trustee Liz.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. So I do have the results back from the survey that I sent out. I also have access to the survey still if anybody wants to see the charts, the statistics. It also I was also able to use the program and turn it into an Excel spreadsheet. If anybody would like to see it, I can forward it to anybody at all. Just tell me and I can email it to you. Sorry. The survey had 11 questions that I sent out to every school in the district, high school, middle school, elementary schools. I got 85 responses from 8 schools, and I was targeting grades 7 to 12. However, I did get responses from almost every single grade. The majority of the responses came from middle schoolers, mostly 8th graders. Now, some of the numbers are not going to be exact because if you read some of the language used, you can tell that it was an adult who probably wrote it, just based on things they talked about and certain phrases they used, and some of the things that they put in some of the questions. So one of the questions I asked was if they were an athlete, either if they were an athlete for Mount Vernon or if they were an athlete outside of Mount Vernon. Most of the people were athletes and only 18 were not. I asked personally because I am an athlete myself and I know how hard it is to be able to fully perform when your body is tired and you're not full or you've only had partially of a meal in the day. And fueling your body during the day is very important in order to be able to fully perform in your sport. So I talked about breakfast and lunch. The first question I asked is how often people got breakfast. 40% of people said they had breakfast either 3 to 5 days a week, and 25% said they have breakfast about 1 to 2 days a week. 65% of kids takes only some of the food offer, while 9% take everything, and 50% say that they do not feel full until lunch, and only 6% said they mostly feel full. When it actually came to lunch, over 50% of kids took lunch every single or most days. 64% took some of the food offered, and 13% took everything. Over 60% said they do not feel full after lunch. And when they've asked to go get a second lunch, answers have ranged from going 1 day a week to going every single day during school for a second lunch. Kids said that when they went up to go ask for a second lunch, they were not allowed. Lunch monitors would yell at them. And if they wanted to get a second one, they would have to pay, which they didn't know about. And a side note, at the end of the survey, I left room for people to say if they had any concerns they wanted me to bring to the board. And many people said that the portions need to be bigger and there need to be more food options because either allergies, dietary restrictions, or they just didn't want to eat what it was ever served.
Totally agree.
Anybody have any questions for me? Other than that, that's all the research I concluded from my survey.
Thank you.
I was gonna say thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was really good. For your first presentation, that was amazing. And thank you for what you were able to pull together. I think we got a real good turnout on that. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Liz. Okay. Next committee report. Trustee Kerwin, do you have anything for the audit committee?
The audit committee, no.
Budget committee?
Budget committee will be meeting this Thursday. The budget committee will be meeting this Thursday, so I will report at our next meeting.
Okay. The claims committee, we do not have a report on the claims committee. Education committee,
We didn't meet, we haven't met, but I wanted to talk about the fact that the Greenhouse Initiative is going on Saturday. And I wanted to give a shout out to the students who are attending the Saturday program, which would be Dakota Gilmore, Felipe de Fonseca, Cadisa Suave. And I have another student, which I cannot read their name, but these young people are, Jordan Holgate. But these young people, out of the 10 that they're trying to recruit, are working every Saturday to establish an edible garden for the district. So kudos to them. And yes, we will be meeting for the Education Committee meeting, the 13th at 4:30 Zoom.
Yes.
And I will give you updates as they come available. Thank you.
Thank you. Facilities meeting, that would be trustee White.
We will, I do have something, I'm sorry. First of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year to everyone. Sing the same.
Happy New Year.
Our elevator inspections are currently underway. The kitchen hood fire suppression system has been inspected and completed. Water testing for lead is scheduled for this to begin tomorrow. Phase 2 of the Graham School ceiling bracket project has been completed per the engineering report. And one classroom at Graham was repatched and painted in-house. Additionally, 7 of the 11 oil tanks have been closed or removed in compliance with the Department of Health requirements. That ends
I have a
my-
question.
Yes.
I have a facilities question, actually. We,
Go on.
You done? Oh.
No,
Okay.
go.
Can we have an update on the replacement refrigerator freezers over at Benjamin Turner that we've been talking about since, I think, July? Because I know there was a bottlenecking of, I think, some documentation or approvals, but that building is still without those devices. They were already broken for about 2 years before we addressed it in July.
So all the fridges have been ordered, so they're on order. The ice machine, fridge, you're talking Benjamin Turner? Yes.
Do we have a timeline on when they should expect those so I can follow
At the
up?
moment, no. There's a huge backlog in the supply chain.
So
for
the
a lot of those
backlog is still in
devices.
effect?
Yeah.
I'll send you something. All right.
I have a question. Is the lead testing district-wide?
Yes. I'm assuming yes.
Okay.
I have a question. Have we rectified the refrigeration system at Williams?
Which refrigeration system? Is it a walk-in freezer, stand-in?
Well, I'm not sure, but wherever the molded food came from that was served to children a few meetings ago, we corrected that situation
been
and made
corrected,
sure
yeah.
that the temperatures were on point.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Okay, family and community engagement, that would be trustee Middleton.
So just real quick, so that wasn't the alleged mold wasn't from a failure in refrigeration. That was a manufactural defect. The fridges were up and running. And again, we're still waiting on results to see if it was actually mold or a manufactured defect. So I just want to be clear, we're still looking into that with Kellogg.
So manufacturing defect on the equipment?
No, on the product.
The product. Thank you.
Trustee Middleton?
Yeah, we'll have a meeting around January 23rd. Haven't had one yet.
Okay, thank you. HR, trustee White?
We will be having a meeting on January 16th.
Okay. IDA, that would be trustee McDonough? Thursday, okay. Insurance, trustee Kerwin?
No, we have not had a meeting yet.
Policy, we're going to have a policy reading today at the, we're going to have a second reading and another reading for policy tonight. We haven't met anything else, okay. Safety and security, trustee Njenga.
No, we haven't met yet.
Special education. Okay, no technology meeting and wellness meeting. Trustee Mitchell, yeah, are we going to have a wellness meetings?
Yeah, I believe there's a meeting. We had a meeting that was just added to the calendar. It should be an open invitation meeting to any trustees who want to attend.
And I think the trustees on the meeting are myself, trustee Kerwin, and trustee Njenga. We were, we put ourselves on.
And you exclude, yeah. Yeah, I know. I saw that email and I questioned why anybody was excluded because it's an open. There's no other trustees on that committee.
There's a wellness committee that our names are on.
Yeah, that's fine. No, not on. We should update the district site then because it's incorrect. But no one else has been on the wellness committee except
You
me.
haven't had a meeting.
Yes, we have. We have
No,
had
you
several.
haven't.
You haven't heard my. You haven't heard my. You ever heard my reports?
No, you haven't had. You haven't
I'm so
invited us
sorry.
to a meeting.
Oh, I see. All right. Anyway, like I was saying,
So you can't have a meeting with all the trustees because that's.
no. It should be an. Rather not. Rather
I'm
not.
sorry.
There's no reason to take that any
Turn
further.
my mic up, Oscar. My mic is on. I'm sorry. You got to turn it up. I apologize.
There's really no reason to go any further than that. I sent an email. However it goes, it goes. I'll be there.
So you're going to have a wellness meeting on what day?
It's coming up. I think in the next. I think it's the 17th or something like that. Mark, when? Monday. When is it? 16th is when it's supposed to happen, and that's going to be regarding some issues that have gone on, some things that came to my attention in the last 24 to 48 hours regarding some buildings that didn't have milk and things like that, and us basically just still trying to close in on how we can get this debacle that is our food services. You know, we heard Trustee DeGrampy speak earlier about what those surveys said from those children. That's live information that we got from kids on the ground doing it live, which ties into things that have been said at these meetings for at least the past probably year or so about the failures of the food services and what we've been trying to get a hold of for the past at least 2 years or more. And I've been on this committee for all the time I've been on the board. But this meeting, I hope we're going to get some groundwork, some proof, some understanding as to what's going on and how we're moving forward with more than rhetoric.
Okay. Thank you. So follow up on old business. First of all, I'd like to mention that Trustee Kerwin, Trustee Maribel, and Trustee Kelly and I went to the Denzel Washington Alumni Association dance back on December 19th, and our trustee was honored. So I'd like her to tell us why they had the alumni dance.
This was the first alumni dance. Denzel Washington created an alumni association, I believe, earlier this year, and they honored 4 students for academics, excellence in the arts, leadership, and community service. And I was nominated and won the Community Service Award.
Isn't that great?
Thank you.
Thank you. So, old business. I will read this here. Questions from the last meeting of December 17th. Why is there a decline in enrollment? Was the question. The answer is the 23-24 long-range planning study completed through BOCES listed various reasons for the decline in enrollment, including increased in enrollment for charter schools, decline in birth weights in Westchester County over the last decade, and a lower percentage of households with children under 18 when compared to the 2010 and the 2000 census. Question number 2, is it true that churches have housing pre-K and kindergarten? We have community-based organizations who service pre-K students. These students are from Hamilton, Grimes, and Lincoln primarily. These schools do not have pre-kindergarten classrooms housed in their building. Our Lady of Victory is a partner private school. Friendship for Tots is a daycare facility adjacent to the church. The question was, do we pay for it? We pay for the grant funding received. We are required to utilize CBOs as per the UPK contract. Why don't we have a television production curriculum? The answer is we do have a television production curriculum which is located in Rubicon Atlas, the district's curriculum management system. Question, if we do, what are we doing to the studio and to the media facilities in the district? The answer is currently there is a teacher vacancy in this class which the principal has tried to fill. The photography class also uses the studio in addition to the district personnel. That ends the old business.
I have a question for old business.
Sure.
Yes. On December 17th, during our meeting, we voted to secure the services of HYA for the search for a superintendent. I'd like to know what the status of that progress is.
That's going to be an executive session tonight.
Thank you.
I have a question. It is old business because we're talking about, so we're having meetings at the schools regarding, especially those schools that are impacted by the suggested restructuring. there was a meeting for Honor Academy that was a Zoom. It was at 7 o'clock at night. Then there was a meeting that happened at Leadership Academy, I believe, at 3:30 in the afternoon. And then another meeting that happened at Parker School at 5:30. Is there any understanding what I'm hoping that Dr. Smith can help us understand. At 3:30, no parents are available for the most part. It was like 12 parents, I think, on that call, 13. I gave 15. And I don't believe there was an interpreter, and that school is majority Spanish speaking. So I'm wondering, how did we effectively communicate with parents for the leadership meeting? That's number one. And number two, board members were actually barred or kept out, locked out of the Zoom call for Parker, as well as other parents and community members. I'd like to understand, how do we come to that decision? And the board was not a part of that decision at all. How do we get there?
So I had a meeting with the 3 schools in which I arranged with the principals the time they wanted to invite their staff and parents to be present. They set up the meetings. I participated in the meetings. So that's pretty much what happened. So sometimes I do have meetings with individuals on my own, and that's what happened those particular days. It was a meeting that I set up. I made the announcement in the second town hall that I would be meeting with individuals, and that's what I did. Thank you.
Can you just speak to the Parker situation, because you weren't at capacity on that Zoom call, but trustees and parents were barred and blocked out, or like left sitting in the waiting room for about 48 to 50 minutes?
I don't recall that any parents of Parker family was left out. I wasn't told that any parent was left out. I did have a meeting. People were invited and let in who participated at Parker.
I have a follow-up question to that. So just for clarification, so is it my understanding that when we have these meetings at these schools, that only the individuals that are staff members or parents are allowed to attend? Is it not a community meeting? Wouldn't it be appropriate for any member of the community to be able to attend? Maybe it meets their schedule, or an opportunity that they would have in order to listen to what some of the issues or concerns are, or are these meetings exclusionary?
So basically, let me start with Mount Vernon Leadership Academy. They only wanted their parents and staff to be there. So you had to, and that wasn't set up by me, you had to register to participate in their meeting, and they wanted their family to participate in that meeting, and that's what they did that particular day.
So again, I'm going to ask the question, are these meetings exclusionary, or are they open to the public because it is a community issue? And who determines that we only invite parents that are in a particular building and not the entire district or the entire community who is going to be affected or impacted by the decisions that we have to make in the coming days?
So we had community meetings. As you know, we're having those community meetings now. In those particular cases, it was just for the school, and we had that right to do so. We are going around. We want to meet with everyone, and that's what we've been doing, and we will continue to do. For the most part, our meetings are not exclusionary. We had a meeting last night at the Fleetwood Neighborhood Association, and it was open to the public, and people came. And they weren't, many of the people present were not from the Fleetwood Neighborhood Association.
Again, the Fleetwood Association invited the community. I'm talking about the meetings are being held in our schools. Are they not open to the community? And if they are not, why not?
Okay, so we had 3 meetings, they've passed. We could talk about future meetings, but those 3 meetings were held and they're now passed.
Okay, I understand that they're passed.
Wait, I'm answering.
Okay.
I have meetings in my office that I have for certain individuals that's not open to the whole community. It's open to the people that's invited to those particular meetings.
I'm not talking about meetings in your office. I'm talking about meetings that are held in public schools that are open to the community and the communities that are going to be directly affected
can go
and
back and
impacted.
forth.
Okay, now I'm speaking.
We can go back and
I
forth.
am now speaking.
And I'm done.
Okay, you can be done, but I'm not. Okay, those individuals that are in this community, they are going to be impacted and affected. And just because you don't want to hear what I have to say doesn't mean I'm not going to say it. And I'm saying to you, I want to know why people are being excluded from meetings that are held in our public buildings where they pay their tax dollars, and they are going to be impacted about the decisions that we make in the coming days. Now I'm done.
Can I say something too, please? I just want to say in reference to that communication is key. We're board members. We need to remember that organizational chart and what starts at the top and trickles on down. And let me tell you something. There was a general statement made December 6th that there would be meetings in all 3 schools that were closing, and that those meetings were open, and that you would do it at the time that it would accommodate parents to be there in the evenings. That's what was said December 6th. Now, I got on with homeschool, and when I got on with homeschool, or let's say leadership, when I got on, basically there were people from everywhere on there. Okay, when I got on for Parker School, I stayed on from 5:40 to 6:30 and was closed out. PTA president hit her up and said, listen, how come I can't get on? And I heard you talking about the middle schools. Okay, she hit up the principal, and the principal the next day, who never responded that day, said it was as per your orders that she should not have let us in. And I'm a trustee, and I waited until it was over. And I really think it's disrespectful how some of us as trustees are treated. And it's not just now, but it is a continuance of unjustified behavior that needs to stop.
So when you get your new superintendent, you won't have to be disrespected by me.
It doesn't matter who it is. We got to do it the right way.
Enough. Listen.
All right, let's go. Let's stop it.
Please.
Stop it. We're going on to
What?
HR.
You can't express yourself?
Let's go on to our.
That's part of the problem. We need to
We're going
communicate.
to go on to our resolutions. HR resolutions 5.1.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make one quick suggestion, particularly with respect to, I apologize, is that better? Yeah, okay. With respect to Parker in particular, given what I've just heard, I think we should schedule at least a couple of more meetings at Parker that should be fully open, well advertised, and we should have interpreters available there and leadership as well. We should make every effort to be out there, give every opportunity to people who are working and have different schedules. So it sounds like that would be something that we should do over the next few weeks. That would be my recommendation. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee McDonough. Okay, so can we go to HR resolutions, please?
Can I have a motion, please, for 5.1, Human Resources 118A, certified?
Second.
Okay. Just give me one moment, I just lost, hold on. Yeah, no, hold on a second. Just lost connection, give us one moment. Okay, wait one moment, let me just do this, start again. Okay. Okay, so I'll take that first motion again.
Motion.
Questions, concerns, discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Can I have a motion for 5.2, Human Resources 118B, classified?
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions?
I have a question. And my question is, there is an administrative assistant at Parker School who's been in the district a while, who's been in the district a while, and basically wanted to transfer over to Grimes School, but in fact was told no. And basically, we have a provisional person in that position who once was here under a different title, but came back, and that person is assigned to Grimes when the person who wanted to transfer could not do it. So my question is, how come she could not transfer over? And with us saying that we're closing schools and this provisional position, not guaranteed to keep that position, why couldn't the admin from Parker go over to Grimes? I'm addressing it to you, Mr. Campbell, or should I give it to you? You give it to him?
Is that in this resolution? Is that in the resolutions here that you're talking about?
Yes.
I'm not,
It's under the classified section.
I can't discuss, I can't discuss individuals.
Well,
So it could be an
person
executive
is-
discussion.
if a person is senior and they've been in the district and they wanted a transfer to a different school, how come they can't transfer? But then you say no, but then you put in a provisional person who's from outside versus an insider, and basically they're provisional. We getting ready to close schools, etc. And person is a little bit like upset about the fact that she could not transfer.
So I don't do the hiring. So they are interviewed by the administrator that is looking for that person to be hired. So they make that decision. So that's not something that I do.
So a principal has a right over you to make the decision to hire an outsider versus an insider who has served our district for the amount of years they have, and they want to transfer out, they can't, but you take an outsider who haven't been here, and basically that person gets the job and become provisional when we're getting ready to close and we're getting ready to do cuts and all the things that you're getting ready to do.
So I do not hire.
Doesn't make sense that principals should always have that say, so I'm sorry.
That's their building.
Okay. I definitely don't agree that it should stop there. It's for all the years I've been in the district, HR has made decisions and then let the principal know who these people are, and basically that's what happened. But now for them to be like HR and make these decisions all the time is ludicrous. Because then it becomes.
Was there a motion on the floor?
A motion. All in
I have a
favor?
question.
Wait, I think there's another question.
Is there a question?
I have a question.
Where are we? Did you put?
Yeah, there's a
We're
motion.
on question.
It's on the floor.
Okay.
It's on the floor.
So she's asking.
Am I? Do I have the floor? Okay.
I think
Trustee Kerwin and Trustee Middleton, we are in the process.
I'll say nothing when you're whispering. So go ahead.
I'm ready to go home. Come on.
No worries. I have a question, Dr. Smith. I guess I'm asking Dr. Smith. We are in the process of making decisions about closing schools, and yet we have retirements, and we're still making probationary appointments for head custodians and custodians. And I'm just curious as to where are those people going to land after we decide to close these schools, and are we going to have excess people, and if it's wise to make these appointments at this particular time. That's question number one. And then I have a follow-up question for another item on this agenda. So I'll let you answer the first one first.
That question was raised by one of your colleagues.
That was me.
Okay.
And it wasn't answered.
No, it was answered. It was raised by another colleague, and the response went to everyone as far as I understand. But basically,
I ain't see it.
Okay, no worries. Basically, while we're in the process of considering closing schools, there's some positions we have to fill. In the case of the head custodian, if in fact you do not hire someone now, that means, and let me just say this, the person that's being hired, number one, one of them is from the district office. That person is a cleaner in this building. When we decided to place that person in a head custodian's building, we had to because we ran the risk of getting a grievance. Number one, those there has to be a head custodian in the building, so they would get out of title pay and overtime pay. And then the custodian, the cleaner, would also get out of title pay. This way, number one, it's cheaper because we're not going to fill the third position here in the district, and we won't have to pay the overtime. And so it kind of works itself out. The people that's being considered for head custodians are aware of the fact that 6 months they may not be able to keep the job, and at that time they'll revert back to the old position. But we avoid getting a grievance, because as long as there's a position available, they took the test, they applied for it, they're entitled to receive the job.
Question number 2. I see that we have some per diem substitute appointments. We have different rates for different personnel. Some of them are certified, but they're certified at 2 different rates. Can someone explain?
You can take that.
Are you talking about the cleaners or the substitute teachers?
Per diem substitutes. There are 2 different rates being applied to individuals who are, according to this, certified.
So this was voted on August 20th. So certified teachers make $175. Non-certified teachers will make that same rate. If they're certified or non-certified sub TA, they're at $115. That's that rate. If they are a retired teacher, that rate is higher. It's at $279.
And as I understand that, the only time that the retired teacher is receiving the COVID rate, as you want to call it, whatever that advanced rate, is if they are actually going to be teaching in their certified area, correct? That was the conversation that we had when we discussed this and when we voted on it. So my question is this person going to be working in their certification area? Is that the reason why they're receiving the additional compensation? Because as I understand it, that everyone that is actually working in as a substitute, they may not necessarily every day be working in their certified area, and if they are not, are their salaries or their compensation being adjusted on a day-to-day basis?
I would have to look into that to every retired sub.
Well, I mean, it is $100 a day per person. I mean, if we're looking to save dollars and cents and pennies and quarters.
I have one more question I would like to ask our lawyer, in-house counsel. The maker. He's not here right now.
Pertaining to this.
Pertaining this resolution?
Yeah, I just wanted to, because it's about.
It's regarding this it's about this resolution, Trustee Middleton?
Well, it's about. It's sort of loose too, but he's not even in here anyway. So
Is he gonna answer my question?
Oh, you gotta get the question
He
in.
said he was gonna look into it.
Okay.
So
I thought he
think
said
that's what
that.
So are we pulling this if he's looking into it? So my question is, are we going to pull this if he's looking into it? Because we don't have an answer?
We have, I think, Trustee Middleton.
Go ahead. I'll listen.
And I'm
So are we pulling it for one? What's the reason for pulling it?
My question again is that there are different rates being applied to substitutes. I want to know if the substitutes that are receiving the higher compensation are working in their certificated area, because this is what we voted on, this is what we discussed when we voted on the higher rate for subs. And it is my understanding that individuals are not necessarily working in their certificated area and they are still receiving the higher compensation. And what are we doing about it? And if we don't know, when we don't have the answer, then why are we voting on it?
So this is something that has already been voted on, is that correct? Or additional?
I think this is just for one individual, one sub that we're talking about.
Okay.
I'm looking at a resolution that has 2 different rates. And you can't answer me to tell me whether or not the person receiving a higher compensation is working in a certificated area, which explains the difference in the rate that somebody else is receiving.
That wasn't
And
your
you're
question.
telling me
Your question
that was my question.
You wanted me to look at for everybody, and because you said past people. This person hasn't even worked yet, so I don't know
Well, they can't work because we haven't voted on it, but
Correct.
the
But you're-
recommendation for them to work is to receive a higher compensation, and I just want to know if the recommendation is to receive the higher compensation, the understanding when we voted on the higher compensation
expectation
was
is that
that
they'll
people
be
would be
in their-
working in their certificated areas.
Correct.
I mean, I'm not.
That's correct.
Okay, so the question is this person working in their certificated area? Is that the reason why they're receiving a higher compensation? And what I said, that was a rationale for my question, was that it's my understanding that there are subs that are currently working that are not subbing in their certificated area, but are still receiving the higher compensation.
So you want me to look at other people, not this one person?
I think
It's a multi-pronged question.
let's pull it, okay? I think we should pull that resolution. Is it okay? Can I get a?
Can I, all right,
So we can move forward, please.
can we get a motion to pull 5 point?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
How do you pull it if you're on the question?
He answered the question. He answered.
we
the
answered the
question.
question.
From yesterday.
Sure did.
Okay, and y'all
You did.
totally ignored me.
Sure
so
did.
I was
You
gonna
did
say
ask
no
that.
tonight anyway, so
Right, you
that's
did
where I'm
ask
at.
that, yeah.
The vote is to pull this.
To pull it, yeah.
Right,
So we pull it.
we're gonna pull it.
Isn't it, once we,
I think I thought I pulled.
Okay,
Okay, so it's
so we're gonna pull this, we're making a motion to
we're
pull
gonna do
this.
a motion to pull
Gain
5.2
further clarification on the question.
for discussion.
Unfortunately, because we're already in the motion, we have to vote. So my questions are to basically say why I would not support it. So that's my reason. So if people have the same questions, then they would say yes or no. So we already in the middle of a motion, and then after you vote on it, I mean, then it would have to be re-entered or reintroduced, unfortunately. Because it was asked to be pulled yesterday, but it wasn't. So now we have the questions.
All right, so we're still on 5.2. All right, we're going to take a vote, not to pull it. We're taking a vote to see what happens, okay? So all in favor? Okay.
No.
Oppose?
Opposed?
Okay,
Opposed.
Opposed.
okay, let's see. So we have,
Would you like us to raise our hand if we oppose?
yes. So oppose? Okay, yep, got you, yep,
And I'm abstaining.
okay,
I'm abstaining.
okay. So Chris is going to abstain. No, we're gonna, right? Lynn? Okay, and everybody else, and you are abstaining? Okay,
Only the person that said no.
okay.
I'm abstaining also. Wanda, you, are you, what is your weighing in on this? What is it?
Just gonna, okay. Who is you are? Okay. Okay,
I'll abstain.
all right. This motion fails.
Okay, for the audience in here.
They want to poll. They want to poll.
Would you like us to do it over?
Can we redo?
They just want a poll of the responses.
All right, so we have, we have 3 that oppose.
We want to hear how people voted. Y'all invite the community out, you want the community to come, but
So go around and take.
So can you just call each person's name and say what they did?
Donnie, you start.
Okay. All right, you speak into the mic and you give your vote.
Start with Ms. Trustee McDonough.
Trustee McDonough?
I abstain.
Okay, got
I'm Warren Mitchell, and I opposed.
it. Opposed.
Wanda White abstains.
Abstain.
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 Oppose.
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 And Jinga, you opposed? Okay. Okay. And this motion fails. Motion fails.
Can we pull it?
Okay?
Well, it's failed.
It failed. We're gonna,
Failed, you're gonna bring it back if needs be.
can I have a motion for 5.3, request for a leave of absence?
Second.
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions? All in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 6.1? Okay, one moment, just lost Wi-Fi again.
You want to use mine? No, you can't use mine.
Yeah, no, it's okay, just it comes right back up in a minute. Okay. Can I have a motion for 6.1, authorization to hire additional staff for after-school programs for K-8 students for the 2024-2025 school year?
Motion.
Questions, concerns, discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 6.2, authorization to hire additional staff for the Smart Scholars Program for the 24-25 school year?
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions?
I have a question for it. I know in the past that we said that this program was Smart Scholars, that these students who engaged in doing the work to receive the associates, there were students last year, and I hope it don't happen this year, who were told the same thing per this tab. My niece was one of them. And all of a sudden, she got the story that what she thought she was getting after she worked for it, she never got it. And there was no real justification as to why she did not get all the credits for an associate's degree. So, very upset by the fact that she thought it was very pseudo to tell one thing, and then it turned out that it wasn't what was told. So, I really want to believe that this is true to what it says, because it did not happen for students last year. So whoever's riding with it, we need to just make sure it does happen. You know, that if everybody thinks they're getting an associate's degree per the Smart Scholars Program, and they work for the credits, that they actually get what they said they're getting. And I don't know if it was a money issue. I don't know what it was. She got some credit, but she didn't get all the credit that she really worked very hard for, and she's like a 4.0 student.
So I'm sorry, I'm gonna piggyback, Dr. Smith. Is that a question as to whether those programs were certified by the state? What would be the reason
I mean,
why?
where's the certification?
Yeah, what would be the reason why? Like, and I have my son right now. He's taking courses where he should, by the time he finishes next year, he should have equivalent to an associate's degree, and he's working extremely hard. And it's not the first time I'm hearing this type of thing. What would cause that to happen, where a student goes hard, they go in, they take all of these courses, they're working, they're doing, and then after all of that, they turn around and find out that they didn't get half all the credits. And I'm not saying it because they tried to transfer those credits to a school didn't accept. They just didn't get the credits.
We would have to do the research on that, so I wouldn't want to try to answer your question right now.
As a community member, I come out here and spend my time.
So what's next?
You have to.
Please.
All in favor?
Okay.
All right.
What's next?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 6.3, authorization to approve to continue the district's Title I school-wide committee for the 2024-2025 school year?
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 7.1, approval of Pupil Personnel Services Memorandum Number 12, dated January 7th, 2025?
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions?
I have a question. Well, I just want to speak to something, and that is because I've never gotten an answer to this question at least 3 times, okay? And it's not personal, but there's been no real answer to it. I know, and I appreciated Dr. Gail White-Wallace in her presentation and dialogue in the last meeting referenced the universal pre-K. Okay, but what wasn't spoken about, and I did meet in the hallway, was the special ed pre-K that, to my understanding, is a separate entity from the universal pre-K. My understanding is that they are allocated a whole bunch of money, at least 30,000 if I'm correct, per kid. Okay, in our district, we have at least 250 kids, and I mentioned this to you all as board members before, never really got an answer. Okay, 250 kids, some are out of district. At Rebecca Turner, the special ed pre-K, there's a max of 20 out of that number. However, there's 15 kids, and it was 13, now they got 15. But now, for the last whatever years, 8, 9 years, the monies that were seen to have gone into those kids and 619 IDA, correct?
Yeah, the IDA.
Right, wait, hold on.
The amount is lower than 30.
Right, okay, well, it might be.
But there is money.
But it's supposed to go directly to those kids at Rebecca Turner, right? But now, they have not seen any money. And I'm just trying to find out, why are they always told that it is in the general funds? But all the money that they should receive, they have not seen it in 8, 9 years, maybe more. And so I can't get an answer, and they can't get an answer. And when I got on the board 2023, one of the big things that came to me was that teachers could not get resources for their children. And if it's 30,000 per kid, even those on the outside in the community, wherever they're going, outsiders, but we got those that are right here. They're not seeing the money. So if they're a separate entity and they're getting all of this funding, where is the money? And I've just not been able to get that answer. And when they are tested, they get at least $1,200 per child. So if you got 13 kids being tested in 1 week, where's the money? And that is an important question that has yet to be answered, because they are a separate entity and have not seen money in years.
In response to that, Trustee Middleton, Trustee White and I went to Rebecca Turner before it was, at the time, it was a school, and we met with the special ed pre-K and regular students. Remember that, Trustee White? Yes. They wanted monies for their programming, and what we did was we made sure that they got the money. So when you say 8 years, Dr. Doggett was a part of that as well. So I'm not real, no, he later became a part of it. You remember ordering, when we had to order for special ed, and they came upstairs to make sure we ordered for them. Basically, I would have to go back and check, because there was ordering for those pre-K special ed as well as K to 6, because they talked in terms of not receiving
Supply money.
supplies. Now, what basically happened, and we tried to clarify that with the school at that particular time, it's not supposed to be, I'm talking the full school, not just pre-K, because that's what I dealt with at the time. Pre-K was involved in that. And so the money was not supposed to be separated, special ed versus general ed. It was the responsibility of the building to provide for all students within their building. Now, if there continues to be a breakdown with the pre-K, I will check into that and see what's going on.
Yes, I wish you would, because basically it is a separate entity. They're allocated monies that they do not see. And last year when I did come in, I spoke to you, and I remember to tell you that prior to me even coming, that teachers were not receiving what they had ordered because they said there was no money. And these are concerned staff members, concerned, brilliant, intelligent enough to know they see the numbers, but they don't see it in their building for their children.
So last year, Sarita Collins did the ordering for every single school out of the grant monies. They ordered every single school. So I want to find out how they were overlooked.
Okay, because it's just not grant money with them. Okay, they get money, and now the money that they get is not being put into them getting the services that they.
I'm just saying that's
okay.
what took
Well,
place.
I'm just telling you they don't see the money, and where's it at? So.
I think there's a when they when the principal does the ordering. Sometimes I do believe, and I think that's what happened that time, that they weren't included, even though they have to order. They order in bulk for the whole school. And they didn't. And we did a whole separate ordering. We did everything it was all the special ed classes, which are all autistic kids, and pre-K kindergarten. And we met with every teacher and really discussed it, and we were looking to make sure we got this stuff straight.
I hear you loud and clear, but I spoke to Dr. Gail White Wallace when she was here outside because I didn't want to bring it up in here. And she echoed.
But Gail doesn't.
No, she doesn't. You're right. And she said that to me. She said they get a lot of money. And it is a separate entity.
Yep.
So no matter what the orders are, let me tell you something. I got a bus so they could go apple picking. In a matter of an hour, I got the monies to get the bus for the remaining monies that they needed from the community and the mayor, okay? And there was no reason, and I didn't mind, but I couldn't fit. This is when all this came to my attention. I didn't mind, but I just couldn't figure out why they didn't go when the other kids went. And when I found out, it was very disturbing to know that they're allocated a whole bunch of money that they just never see. They see it, but it's not incorporated into the program.
I agree with you. We
I-
have to find out.
I'm done, so you need to check it out. Nobody could answer me yet. Nobody. So there's money, and they're very concerned. They're still concerned, the staff, still concerned that they do not see the money that they know they're supposed to have, and especially 619 that goes directly to those 15 kids.
So, just to, I think this is, Lynn and I, we spoke a little bit about this, I think. Yeah, so these are federal flow-through funds, federal grant funds through IDA. It comes in two parts, 611 and 619. Preschoolers get both parts, both 611 and 619. School-age kids, K through 12, just get 619 funds. The general rule is supplement, not supplant, that these dollars are used for supplemental purposes, and they follow the student. So, for example, if you have a preschooler who goes to a program out of district, that district or that school can request the funds, and then the school district applies to the state. It flows from the state to the school district, and you allocate it out, so it goes with the child. The amounts are less than that, though. They generally, I don't know, I can find the exact amount per pupil through, I'm looking for it now, but I haven't found it yet. They generally run at about $2,000, not $30,000, about $2,000 per pupil. The evaluation is a different component. So there, the money, yeah, the evaluation component is going to be less, but I'm not quite sure what that is for. Unless the school district is an evaluation site. If it's an evaluation site and you're doing the evaluations, then that money would come to pay that. But that's a little bit different. But I agree with you. We should have an understanding of this 611, 619 money. It should be segregated. All right, the money should be segregated from the general fund so we can see exactly how much is coming, and it should be accounted for. And I think we spoke a little bit about this too, Jose. I think you were going to look into it. Yeah.
Let me just clarify something. So we're mixing up the general fund with the 611, 619. The general fund has nothing to do with 611 or 619. 611, 619 are reported separately, they're accounted for separately, and those records are all up to date. The general fund is completely different. As I mentioned, I am going to have a meeting with special services, and we're going to go over how that is being allocated in the general fund for special services pre-K. That has not changed. I already spoke to the director there, and I will be handling that.
That's my point. It shouldn't be in the general fund. There should be a separation.
They're two separate things again. They are not, because there is money that is still paid through the general fund. Just like pre-K. Pre-K is not supported fully for a grant. As we've discussed, the general fund picks up about $3 million of pre-K. It is not funded, so it's funded from two different places. So I want to make it clear when we say grants, they are very different. 611, 619 is not general fund.
I didn't say it was.
Right. No, we brought up 611, 619.
Not getting bottom line. You can't see it, you haven't shown it to me, haven't seen it. So let's see it so these people can be happy about what they know they're supposed to get that they're not getting.
Yes, 100%. I just don't want people to leave a meeting thinking that 611 or 619 is, because we cannot just continuously switch between general 611 or 619 You need to be able to say exactly what it is.
Okay.
So,
All right, so,
and you will get
move on. Kim, all right, thank you, everyone. All right, so let's move on. Where are we?
All in favor? We're on 7.1. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a,
Okay,
yeah, just, no Wi-Fi. Hold on a second.
trying to get through this before her computer crashes.
The Wi-Fi keeps kicking out. Hold on a second. Okay. So, can I have a motion for 8.1, approve general funds transfer purchase order increases for January 7th, 2025? Wait, hold on, 1 second. Don't do anything, cancel.
Motion.
Second.
Question.
Questions? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, wait, let me go back. First motion was,
Marable. I
okay?
second.
Okay. Questions, concerns, discussions?
Hi, yeah, so earlier, and maybe something's wrong here, but earlier there was backup. This is the funds transfer request? There was another piece of, oh, no, I'm sorry. So, my question, so I can't understand why we're moving teachers, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to email about this sooner, I've just been very busy today, but why are we moving $107,000 of teacher salaries for the high school to cover county tax for sewers? Was that like some budget, was that a budget, when we do the budgeting for 24, 25, it was just misallocated? Is that what happened?
If you want to take that one.
I think that would be a Mr. Formoso.
Yes, Mr. Buck, please chime in.
because what was budgeted for was insufficient. That's why.
Got it. Why would we take it? So, comes back to another question I normally have when we do budget transfers. I expect that at least the two, right, the from account is going to account that kind of aligns. So if you had to said teacher salary Mount Vernon High School for teacher salary Denzel Washington, it kind of would have made a little more sense. Right now, we just took apples and mixed them with hand grenades. I'm just trying to get the comparison. Is it just that we found out that we just misbudgeted and we had to take that money from there? We just knew we had the money to take it from there?
No, the budget transfers, the only one you can't is equipment line codes. Any other code you can transfer to and from. There are no regulations where you cannot transfer from a payroll code to another code. The only thing you cannot do is transfer to increase an equipment line code, which this is not.
Okay, and I get that. Okay, cool. So basically, again, we just under budgeted.
Can I just
Yes, it
ask
is.
or comment on that, if I may? I know we've had a lot of vacancies in our teachers' lines, so that would make sense that if we have vacancies and we're not paying out the salaries that we thought we would pay out, that you would go to that line and use that money to fund something that we were short on. So that makes sense to me. So thank you.
I mean,
No, and that is correct. And just in general, over the past few years, the payroll codes have been over budgeted.
Okay.
So,
I mean,
other
it just-
codes have been under budget, but payroll has always had a surplus. That doesn't mean the budget was over budgeted.
that leads to another question I'm not going to ask today, which is why we would over budget anything when we can look at the budget and see what we spent for the past X amount of years, and you can see the variances, and you can tell that's supposed to be a driving mechanism for how we budget for the coming school year. That should be some sort of roadmap, right?
Yes, what was reported by CMA was showing the variances, and what one of them showed was that the payroll code had over budgeted, but
Right.
other codes were severely under budget.
Now, another question I have is for the second line, which is attorney salaries, which is 90,000. Is that our in-house? Is that our in-house attorney salary?
No, that does not. That's a contractual line. It is not a payroll line, so that is for attorneys that we use outside of the district.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I had. Thank you. I think that before I didn't see any backup. I don't see the invoicing that drives the transfer for that 90,000. Is there any backup for it, like the invoices from the legal firms that?
For the legal, so when we do a transfer, it could be an expected expense where we then have to create a purchase order for it, In some cases, would be like a confirming purchase order where we're doing it after we already received the invoices. So in this case, it's anticipated expenses. In terms of the taxes, I can provide that backup because we received invoices for the sewer.
That would be extremely helpful. And could they be attached to this resolution on the back end?
As long as, yes.
Okay.
No problem.
I could send an email.
May I make a
No,
comment?
don't. I can take care of it. You don't need to send an email. I can take care of it.
on the floor.
May I make an
Understood. I'll make sure it's attached.
May I
We
make-
already have those.
May I make another comment? Also, sometimes we may have legal fees that we allocate in one area, and we may decide that we need to outsource those expenses. So you would have to transfer them from in-house to an external contract. So that also explains why we may have to transfer funds from one line to another. Just to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oppose? Abstain?
Okay.
Who's that? Oh. Motion carries. Ca- Hold on a second. This is crazy.
It stopped again.
Wait, what?
Waits for you to go sit down.
I know, but she was kind of looking for my house. Okay, here we go. Can I have a motion for 8.2? Approve the settlement of tax proceedings for 17 South McQuestion Parkway LLC, Staples Inc., 118-120 South 12th Avenue LLC, R&G Equities A&J Realty Holdings LLC, Westchester Plaza Holdings LLC, JP Edwards Associate LLC, and Ranhawas Estate Corp.
Motion.
I need
Question.
concerns, discussions, please.
Question. I know I've asked you this before, Mr. Formosa, but can you just kind of give a brief overview as to what this is? Thank you.
Tax.
Nope, sorry. Are these the tax surcharges?
Yes.
Right, so these go through Ingerman and Smith, but these are pretty much protests saying on the assessed value of the property. So it goes through a tax surcharge process, then Ingerman and Smith will send us the judgment once it's all approved. And then we have to put it through the board, and at that point, we could process payment.
So we really don't have much of an option. It's already been ordered by the court.
It has
correct?
already gone through all
Okay,
those motions,
thank you.
yes.
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
All in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Just give me a moment. Just 1 moment. Doesn't help. Here we go. Can I have a motion for 9.1, approval to opt out of the school regionalization plan?
Motion. Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions?
Can we just have a simple understanding why we're opting out of it for the public who may not be aware or understand what it is? Can we just have an understanding why we're opting out? Can we share it?
Okay, so I don't know if you were present when we had a discussion. Oh, you weren't? Okay. So I sent materials to each one of you regarding this matter. We had a board meeting in which we had a conversation, and because the board is really supposed to make a decision whether they want to opt in or participate in regionalization. Regionalization is primarily sharing responsibilities, of which we could do that on our own, and it was my understanding the board opted to do it on their own. It wasn't necessary. So that's why we're opting out.
All in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for, sorry, just kicks it out. Hold on. You gotta be fast. Okay, one moment. Okay. So can we have a motion for 9.2 for the first reading, revision of policy 3170, parent involvement policy? So I need a motion.
Motion. Second.
Okay. All in favor? Oppose? Okay. Abstain? Motion carries for the first reading.
So I just want to prepare everybody that this is a very long document. So I'm sorry that we're near the end, but this is where we are.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I could, but that wouldn't be in the vein of true transparency, would it? So let's start off, all right? All right, so the Mount Vernon Board of Education believes that positive parent and family engagement is essential to students' achievement and thus encourages such involvement in school education planning and operations. The Mount Vernon Board of Education also believes that the ongoing parental engagement is a responsibility that is shared by both the school and the family during the entire period the child spends in the school. Parent and family engagement may take place either in the classroom or during extracurricular activities. However, the board also encouraged parents and family engagement at home. For example, plan home reading time, informal learning activities, and/or homework contracts between parents and children. The board directs the superintendent of schools to develop a homeschool communication program to encourage all forms of parent and family engagement. Title I Parent and Family Engagement Policy. Consistent with the parent and family engagement goals of Title I, Part A of the Federal Every Student Succeed Acts, ESSA, the Board of Education charges the school district staff and parents with the development, implementation, and regular evaluation of district-wide and individual school parent engagement programs that encourages and support participation of parents and family members of students eligible for Title I services in all aspects of their children's education. Further, as required by federal law, the Board of Education will ensure that all schools receiving Title I Part A funds develop and implement school-level parent and family procedures, purposes. This policy seeks to strengthen the partnership among parents/caregivers, the community, staff, school, the superintendent, the board, by providing for parents and family involvement on multiple levels throughout the district. The partnership will be further strengthened by expanding learning opportunities that help individual parents support their children at home. Such learning opportunities shall be offered at, but not limited to, Mount Vernon City School District, Parent-Teacher Association Council, school-based and community-based parent-family engagement teams led by Mount Vernon City School District parent liaisons, Special Education Parent Advocacy Council, the Bilingual and English as a New Language Parent Advisory Council, BEPAC, and other parent groups. This policy outlines areas which parents and families can participate in local school and district-wide matters and is supplemental to the rights of parents guaranteed by the Board of Education policy, state, and federal laws. This policy in no way eliminates any individual parent's right to make his or her feeling known at any level in the district on any topic of concern, nor does it prevent the district from involving individual parents in appropriate situations. The Mount Vernon Board of Education defines parents and families engagement as a participation of parents in regular two-way and meaningful communication involving students, academic learning, and other school activities, including and ensuring that the parent and family members play an integral role in assisting their child's learning, that the parent and family members are engaged to be actively involved in the children's learning, that the parent and family members are full partners in their child's education and are, as appropriate, in decision-making and on committees to assist in the education of their child. The carrying out of other activities such as those described in ESSA, Section 1116. The federal definition of the term parent refers to natural parent, legal guardian, or other person in parental relationship, such as a grandparent or a step-parent with whom the child lives, or a person who is legally responsible for the child's welfare. Students in school level Title I ESSA parents and family engagement programs, activities, and procedures will provide full opportunities for participation of parents with limited English proficiency, parents with disabilities, and parents of migratory children, including in providing information and school reports required under the law in a format and, to the extent practicable, in language parents understand. As further required by law, parents and family members of students eligible for Title I services will be provided an opportunity to participate in the development of the district's Title I plan and to submit comments regarding any aspect of the plan that is not satisfactory to them. Their comments will be forwarded with the plan to the New York State Education Department. Additionally, parents and family members of students that attend the school that fails to make adequate yearly progress for 2 consecutive years and is identified as a school in need of improvement will be provided the opportunity to participate in the process of developing a school improvement plan. Parent and family participation in development of district-wide Title I plan. The board, along with its superintendent of schools and other appropriate district staff, will undertake the following actions to ensure parent and family involvement in the development of district-wide parent and family engagement plan. Meetings and parent workshops will be held during flexible times and in accessible locations within the district to provide greater access. The district will communicate with its family and stakeholders via phone, written notice, mail, email, and/or by posting on the district website and/or social media periodically throughout the year. Parents and family members will be offered opportunities to participate in various committees at the school and district-wide. The district shall work in partnership with the Mount Vernon PTA Council. Families will be surveyed at least yearly to determine the level of satisfaction with parent and family engagement activities. The district will develop both appropriate collaboration and rules with community-based organizations and business to support parent and family activities. The district will conduct the annual district-wide Title I plan meeting, development of school-level parent and family engagement plans. The superintendent of school or other designated personnel will ensure that all district schools receiving federal financial assistance under the Title I Part A are provided technical assistance and or other support necessary to assist them in planning and implementing effective parent and family engagement programs and activities that improve students' achievement and school performance. Individual schools are encouraged to develop and maintain programs and activities to meet the needs of their parents and families. As appropriate to meet individual local needs, the superintendent of schools or designated personnel will 1. Offer parent and family workshops on literacy and math strategies for parents. 2. Invite parents and families to celebrations and family activities. 3. Provide consistent and accurate translated documents. 4. Offer workshop by E&L staff on how to support first and second language development in the home. 5. Offer programs, activities, and procedures that will assist in training and supporting parents and families to increase engagement. Each Title I school, in consultation with parents and family members of participating children, shall adopt the district-wide policy as its school-level policy or develop its own school-level policy in compliance with requirement of ESSA. Building capacity for parents and family engagement. To build parent capacity of strong parent and family engagement to improve their child's academic achievement, the district and its Title I Part A schools will, at a minimum, do the following. 1. Assist parent in understanding such topics as states, academics, content, and student achievement standards, state and local academic assessments, Title I requirements, how to monitor their monitor their child's progress, and how to work with educators to improve the achievement of their child. To achieve this objective, the district and its Title I schools will 1A, offer parent and family workshops at both school level and district-wide. Provide parents with biannual progress reports from their child's Title I support teacher. When requested and or if necessary, offer parent-teacher phone conferences in addition to regular parent-teacher conferences. Provide information, materials, and or resources to assist parents in playing a role in their children's learning. Offer parents and family members training on how to access the Parents Portal, which allows them to view report cards in their native languages. Utilize the district's website. 2, provide materials and training to help parents and family members work to improve child's academic achievement. To achieve this objective, the district and or the Title I school will do the following. 2A through E. A, offer parent and family workshop at both the school level and district level. B, assist parents and family members in supporting the institutional practices used in the schools at home, particularly in the areas of math and literacy. C, forge community partnerships that will help support the school-home connection. D, encourage parent and families to participate in library programs and to assess both articles and other media to extend and enrich the district core curriculum in literacy, as well as the other content areas included math, social studies, and science. E, post resources on district website and on social media, as well as disseminate resources to parents, families, school principals, and Mount Vernon PTA, Parent Teachers Associations, and Parent Teachers Students Associations. 3, educate teachers, student services, personnel, principals, and other staff in understanding the value and utility of parents' contributions and how to. 3A, reach out to communicate with and work with parents and family members as equal partners. B, implement and coordinate parents and family programs. C, building relationships between parents, family, and schools. And D, encourage parents and families to utilize the public library system. To achieve this objective, the district and Title I schools will work closely with parents and family members through a variety of means to provide support and assistance related to student, academic, and development progress. 4, ensure that information related to school and parent-related programs, meetings, and other activities is sent to the parents and the families of the children participating in Title I programs in an understandable and uniform format, including alternative formats upon request, and to extend practicable in language the parents can understand. 5, provide such other reasonable support for parent and family engagement activities in accordance with the policy as parents may request. And 6, the district shall reserve 1% of its Title I allocation for purposes of promoting parent and family engagement. Not less than 95% of the 1% reserved shall be directly distributed to Title I schools. Coordination of parents and family engagement strategies. The district shall, to the extent feasible and appropriate, coordinate and integrate strategies adopted to comply with Title I, Part A, parent and family engagement requirements with early child programs currently within the district. The district will coordinate and share early literacy practices with preschool partners such as Head Start, Reading First, Early Reading First, Even Start, Parents as Teachers Home Instruction Program for preschool youngsters, and or state-operated preschool programs. The district will do this by offering parent workshops at the school level and district-wide on a topic such as literacy, math, based on community needs. 2, offering family engagement workshops on children development, mental health, care, and stress management. And or 3, building and strengthening relationships among early childhood programs within the district, parents, and public library system. Last section, review of district-wide parent and family engagement. The board, along with the superintendent of school and other appropriate staff, will conduct, with the involvement of parents and families, an annual evaluation of content and effectiveness for this parent and family engagement policy in improving the academic quality of Title I schools. This review shall include identifying barriers to greater participation by parents and family in activities under this policy, assessing the needs of parents and family members to assist in their child learning and determining strategies that will support successful school and family interaction. To facilitate this review, the district will annually monitor through surveys and feedback, parent and family participation at school events, the effectiveness of the district's Title I parent and family engagement policy. The survey shall be coordinated by the Office of School Improvement. The finding of the survey shall be reviewed and evaluated by the district and will be used to designate evidence-based strategies for more effective parent and family engagement. Following the review, and if necessary, the policy shall be revised. So this was the first reading of the policy. I just want to highlight Dr. Doggett and his committee and his division unit, whatever you want to call it, and the people there under who has done the work to engage with the families to ensure that our policy is vibrant. And then based upon their information, then I get it. So I'm not totally doing this alone. I get it. And then from there, try to infuse it. So next time we look at a policy, it'll say revised and approved January 7th, 2025, and we'll feel that we're relevant. So that is the first reading of this policy.
So can I have a motion for 9.3, first reading for policy 7300.60, amendment to the Code of Conduct, student searches and interrogations. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Who was second? Okay. Questions, concerns, discussions? Okay.
I'll explain. I will explain.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries for the first reading.
So I know we had the first reading over the break. The reason why this is not a second reading, because after executive session, it was amended. And so now I have to give the first reading of the amendment, which means I have to read the whole document. So, everybody ready? Sure.
Will this be available for public view before we vote to approve it? Because ultimately, what this policy amendment is going to do is it's going to speaking directly to a situation that happened where we had talks with the community, Zoom meeting with the superintendent, members of the community, parents that were all impacted, as well as principals in the district. Will there be an opportunity for the public to speak to what these amendments are, and if not, why?
We already went through the public speaking of it before. I think the public was very much engaged with this process, and based upon that, the policy committee met and we drafted this amended policy. And based upon that, we then brought it for the first reading, for which in executive session we found out more information that led the board members to take a vote to say that we need to change this policy or amend it. Okay? The amendment is not a must, it's not a should, it's a may. And so schools will still have the discretion to do what the amendment says or not do what the amendment says. So I guess to the best that I can answer that question, that's the answer.
That was a legal answer.
No, that's the answer in English.
But
there ain't nothing legal about it. I hate when people do that.
Okay.
You talk to somebody, you acting like a lawyer. No, I'm acting like Royce Russell that's just telling you answer to your question.
But let me ask you a question. So basically, it's not going to be in written form for anybody to view.
No, all policies are in written form.
No, but not
for viewing prior to your vote. Yeah, that's why we have the reading.
Okay, so not not physical viewing.
Right, you're correct.
I wasn't here for the last meeting for that part of it. Yeah, I know I'm a bad guy. Yeah, I didn't know about that decision and that there was a discussion, so I'm just kind of catching up. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
So just for clarification, the reading is for the board to hear it and for the public to hear it, but the public doesn't have access to it being written. They only hear it, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
My last question. You said the policy committee. How many members of the public are on the policy committee?
I don't think any members of the public is on the policy committee now that I think back, but there's at least 4 board members that are on the policy committee.
Wow. Okay.
And Dr. Ramsey from special ed.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there, at the state and level, sometimes when new policy is enacted, there is a public comment period. The draft is put up online, and there's a mechanism where the public can make comment. It's left up for a period of time, and then that feedback can be incorporated into the policy to the extent that decision makers think it's appropriate. Is there anything that precludes us from doing that with a policy like this here in Mount Vernon?
I don't know of any preclusion particular to Mount Vernon. I can look into that. I think, well, let me reserve what I want to say to that. I'll answer your question. I don't think that there is anything to preclude that. I think the discussion is pretty much, I'm going to use this term, black and white. The amendment to this policy doesn't change the discussion. Either we're going to do it or we're not. And if you want to not do it, and as board members know, there are challenges with not doing certain things or doing certain things, I'm sure we can hold that open. That's why we have a first reading and a second reading, and to have that happen.
Yeah, I think my question was just in following up to Donna and Trustee Mitchell, Trustee Marabone and Trustee Mitchell, about if the public hears this now, they have to listen carefully and have a photographic memory if there's something that they're concerned about and they want to give feedback to us and say, hey, I think something should change there, because they don't have access to this the way I do. So it kind of doesn't feel like a fair way of doing it if we fully want community to be engaged in a code of conduct that affects young members of the community.
Well, and what I can suggest is that as a board, the board can decide to revamp how they go about presenting resolutions in general to the public, and it would not go for just this, it would go for every resolution, which I'll reserve my comment as to that, whether that is appropriate or not.
Well, it doesn't need to be every resolution. It could just be policy resolutions. It doesn't need to be, for example, all the resolutions that we had on the agenda tonight. We wouldn't have to put those up in advance, leave them up in advance, and then vote on them at subsequent time after taking feedback. But it could be we could delineate certain policies that we think, for example, parent involvement policy, code of conduct, particularly the code of conduct, I think just because of recent events around that and the sensitivity of that, you get my point. That's all. I don't want to belabor. I
do get your point, and I do understand timelines with things. And in an ideal world, certain timelines we would be able to meet with when it comes down to policy, and other timelines we can't. I have a colleague that want to. Dr. Doggett was just ensuring that through the parent engagement procedures that there are room to see, if not physically, to talk about policy. So there is another outlet. So it's a matter of what the board wants to do as far as delineating time and how we want to focus that. There are occasions that sometimes we have to move quickly with policies. And if we're going to stay true to a timeline, then that should be the timeline universally. I don't think we should pick and choose one way or the other.
So is there a consensus as to what to do with this particular policy?
Well, it was just a reading.
Okay.
It's just a reading.
So it's just a reading. So I think all the issues that you brought to the floor, the board can talk about either now, next week. We can have a special session to talk about it before we get to the second reading.
Okay.
All right? Fair enough?
Sounds fair.
Fair enough. Great.
Can I have a motion for 10.1 to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing?
You gotta read it.
Oh, you didn't read it yet. Oh.
No.
It was so long. So sorry. That's right.
8:44. It's big print. It's big print. So
This one's shorter than the other one.
It's big print.
Sorry.
Okay?
You have the floor.
All right, thank you. 7300.60, amendment to the Code of Conduct. Student searches in Interrogations. The Board of Education is committed to ensuring an atmosphere on school property and school functions that is safe and orderly. To achieve this kind of environment, any school official authorized to impose disciplinary consequences on a student may question a student about an alleged violation of law or district code of conduct. Students are not entitled to any Miranda-type warnings before being questioned by school officials, nor are school officials required to contact a student's parent/guardian before questioning the student. However, school officials will tell all students why they are being questioned. Physical/pat-down searches. The board authorized the superintendent of schools or their designee, building principals or their designees, assistant principals, the school nurse, district security officers to conduct searches of students and their belongings. Before searching a student, the authorized school official must inquire about the student's possession of physical evidence, which violates the district code of conduct. Such searches may generally only be performed when authorized by school officials has reasonable suspicion to believe that the search will yield evidence of violation of the law or district code of conduct. Reasonable suspicion is defined as follows. 1. Metal detector alert or X-ray machines. A metal detector alerts the superintendent of schools or their designee, building principal or their designee, assistant principal, school nurse, district security officials that a metallic item is on the student's person. Handheld wand. A handheld wand alerts the superintendent of schools or their designees, building principal or their designee, assistant principal, the school nurse, the district security officials to the presence of a metallic item on the student's person. Reliable information. Reliable information is provided to the superintendent of schools or their designee, building principal or their designee, assistant principal, school nurse, or security officials from a reliable informant indicating that a student has prohibited items such as a weapon or drugs, possessing, consuming, selling, distributing, or exchanging alcohol beverages or illegal substances, or being under the influence of either. Illegal substances include, but are not limited to, inhalants, edibles, cocaine, LSD, PCP, amphetamines, synthetic cannabinoids, heroin, steroids, vaping look-alike drugs, and any substance commonly referred to as designer drugs, parentheses, including illegal narcotics, unprescribed medication, marijuana, vape devices, or alcohol. This list is not exhaustive of illegal drugs. Personal observation. The superintendent of school or their designee, building principal or their designee, assistant principal, the school nurse, or district security officials personally observe the student concealing a weapon, metallic or non-metallic, or drugs on their person, regardless of whether a metal detector, X-ray machine, or handheld wand alerts occur. Reliable informants may include students, volunteers, bystanders, or individuals with a verified track record of providing accurate information. Information from any informant may also be deemed reliable if corroborated by another source or if a student provides a statement against their own interests. A verified track record is not mandatory to be considered a reliable informant. Generally, individuals who have previously provided inaccurate information will not be deemed reliable. Physical/pat-down protocol. All searches must be conducted to respect the children's dignity and privacy while ensuring the safety of the school's community. Voluntary disclosure. The student can voluntarily retrieve or reveal the items in question before conducting a physical search. Metal detection and scan. After retrieval or voluntary disclosure, the student must pass through a metal detector and or undergo a scan with a handheld wand. Pat-down search. If the metal detector or handheld or wand signals at the presence of an item, an authorized school official may conduct the pat-down. Guiding principles. Searches should only be conducted when necessary and sensitive to the student's dignity. All searches should be conducted in a manner that respects the dignity and privacy of the students while ensuring the safety and well-being of all students with the school environment. Authorized personnel must adhere to policy to ensure compliance with and ethical standards. Whenever practical, Searches will be conducted in privacy of the administrative office, and students will be present when their possessions are being searched. Searches will be limited to the extent necessary to locate the evidence sought. Protocol for schools or events without metal detectors or handheld wands. In the absence of metal detector or handheld wands, the following protocol must be followed. Student self-search. That means that the superintendent of schools, their designee, building principal, or their designee, assistant principal, school, nurse, district security officials will instruct the student to perform a self-search. B, the student must remove all items from their person, including pockets, bags, or any concealed items. 2, it's a pat-down search. Once the search is completed, the superintendent of schools or their designee, building principals or their designees, assistant principals, school nurse, or district security officials will perform a pat-down search of the student. However, notwithstanding the above, each school may implement a random pat-down searches. This procedure applies specifically when metal detectors or handheld wands are unavailable. This policy underscores the district's commitment to creating a safe environment while safeguarding the right and well-being of students. That is all.
Thank you. Okay, now, can I have a motion for 10.1 to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation, the financial history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation, and to receive legal advice on a pending matter.
Motion.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? No. Motion carries.
I don't know, I think Dr. Smith has something to discuss, so it may be actionable, we may not, we may just open the door, I don't know.
Are you coming back?
No.
Oh,
Coming back out there.
tell them that we're not coming back.
Have a good night, everyone.